Cannonball Mindset, and today I have the extreme, unbelievable, amazing pleasure to talk to my good friend, superstar, woman extraordinaire, vice president, author, mother, wife, blogger, podcast host. I think she scaled Mount Everest in a bikini. She, she was raised by a pack of wolves, and yet still finds a way to work with Mother Teresa in feeding the hungry around the world. It's amazing. I don't know, like that's what I feel like when I hear Ronda Conger. So you are the nucleus of the home building industry, and you're in Idaho. I've never been to Idaho, but one would not think like the center of the home building world in Idaho, but you really have ascended to that level in an industry that is really dominated by men.
Yes.
There's a couple women we know. We share some mutual friends, people like Lisa Cooper, that are females that are dominating this industry, and you are one of those powerful women. So really excited to have you on the podcast.
I have to tell you, you hanging out, talking about all the things that I love, and God knows what we're going to talk about. So I am in. I'm so excited for this.
I have no clue. Now, I know you are 4 Red Bulls in already, so it'll be a lot of energy. You don't lack energy. I don't drink caffeine, ever. So no caffeine. I've never tasted coffee. So you're going to have to be the energy source for the two of us. So.
Well, and I have to tell you, literally, you have to know this. I just had a leadership coffee with my team this morning at 7 a.m. And we kind of talked about that. Like, I can do a Red Bull at midnight and I'll be asleep by 12:01. So truly, caffeine is just because it tastes delicious. I really don't think it does anything for me, just besides the fact that I love it.
Yeah, the only human being in the world that takes Red Bull to calm down because her energy is already higher. Shit.
It's too high. We're gonna bring that down. It's too high.
So let's start first just by in the intro, I really did try to capture everything, but you can't capture everything in a 20-second intro about you. I'm saying as I read your first book, because you have 3 of them, the first book, Better Human, I was captivated in the first 2 paragraphs about how you even got to where you are. And most people make a conscious choice to be the victim of their circumstances, but you made a conscious choice not to be the victim of your circumstances, and they were some pretty tough circumstances.
Yeah, and I always say I should have been the kid that ended up in the roadside ditch, and just kind of with everything in my life and people around me and the craziness of it all, I always say it was just a first-class shit show. At the same time, I think we all have 2 choices in life. And I think either you hopefully run away from it and choose differently, or you run towards it and just stay in it and kind of roll around in it and make that your what you're going to be about and let it define you. Or I firmly believed that I knew there had to be better out there. There had to be a different way. There just had to be. And I kind of looked for those examples, and I was a crazy reader. So, even me reading as a small child, I was like, man, there's better things out there. I can get out of this. I can change my circumstance. I can change my direction, everywhere I'm going. And I think some people, like you said, instead take it as a victim. And I looked at it and said, I got to look at this as a gift, and it's kind of made me who I am today. Yeah. And I look at it completely different.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that what's amazing to me is that I truly believe that you start to become programmed early in life. And your first experience was you lost your mother when you were 3 years old in a car accident.
Yeah.
And to me, like that, could have really set the tone for the rest of your life. And justifiably, like nobody would have looked at you and said, well, she had a fair shot, or they would have given you empathy extreme and galore, and you could have caved into that, but you decided not to. And I think that's how do you decide? Again, at 3 is different, but as you start to go through this, you talked about having a couple different stepmothers and this and that and in that, but again, somehow persevering through all of it.
Like I said, I think that you have to make a decision not to define yourself off of moments. And I think that people choose things that they hold on to and they define. And like I said, I just think that obviously from a very early age, I decided, and I'm a watcher, I would tell you. So I always say, is that a good look? Is this the look I'm going for? Is this the way I want to live my life? Is this what I want to do? And I use that to guide my life. Like, is this a positive thing? Is this a good thing? And early on, and it really just really how I lived my life. And instead of saying this, yes, my mother did die when she was 3, and I'm not gonna lie to you, that is hard. At the same time, I'll tell you, she's with me every day. I talk to her every day. I'm totally that person, and I think I chose, instead of saying I'm a victim, this is gonna make my life really hard, isn't this horrible? I looked at it and said, I wanna make her proud. I wanna make her proud. I want to make her proud to say that, hopefully she's shining down on me and saying, man, this is the person that I wanted my daughter to become, whether I'm here or not physically.
When did you have conscious recognition that you weren't going to be the victim? Obviously at 3, you just living your life. At 5, you live in life. There's this
yeah.
book where you talked about where you really, and I'm probably going to get the words wrong, but you really just gutted out your senior year in high school.
Yeah.
Pushed through it. When did you have real conscious recognition that, and I'm going to really do something with my life, where you could see into the future and say, I'm going to dominate in all aspects of my life, regardless of my circumstances?
That's an amazing question. I have never been asked that, so I love that, by the way. I would tell you that from the age of 3 to the age of probably 12, I had large amounts of hope that my life would and could be different with the people that were in it. I wanted to believe that these stepmothers and step siblings and the craziness and all the craziness in my life, that come on, it's got to be better, have hope. Like I literally believed that. I thought that things would change, and I thought that things would get better. And from 3 to 12, and then something happened, and maybe it's just you're finally, seeing things with different eyes. I would say at right around the age of 12 to 13, I realized that nothing was going to get better in my current life. That these people were not the people that I wanted to emulate. It wasn't the life that I wanted. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't positive. And I literally finally, I can remember where I was and what was going on at the moment, thinking, this isn't going to change. This is if I keep hoping, I'm going to be in the same situation as at the situation that I was in. And I literally, at that moment in time, right, like I said, right around 13 probably, I just said, no. There's got to be a better life. There's got to be a better way. And I kind of went on the hunt from it and kind of started pushing back from that moment forward. And that's why, at the age of 14, I was kicked out of my house, because I was like, this is straight up bullshit. I'm out. This is just, I know that this is wrong, and I'm not going to live this life anymore. So, was kicked out, and then allowed back in when I was 16 again. We tried to do this again. I was like, no, this is not the life. So it was early, honestly, right? You think about that, but it was really that junior high to high school that I realized that it was all on me. Things weren't going to get better. The only thing, and it just hit me, that was going to get better was me. Because here's what I think is interesting, Jad, is that all those people are still in the exact same place I left them. The exact same place. So the only thing that got better was me.
Yeah, that's so. Listen, it's the reason I asked that question is because I'm a firm believer that we have these shift moments in our life, and see how I find truth. And these moments of epiphany, or whatever you want to call them, and people change for desperation or inspiration, and these moments are the catalysts. But most people they have these moments and they just let them pass by, and their life continues to be the same. And I'm always curious about what was the make or break moment that said enough. And it's amazing. It took me a long time to realize these moments in my life, but to have it at 14 to say, and then see the cause and effect of your actions of saying, I know I can have more, but I got to do more. I got to change the way I perspective. I got to look at it this way. I got to do this, do that, and then have the determination to do it is in itself at any age is big, but at the age of 14, 16 of those pivotal years, it's got to be just hard.
I think, you know what it was though, is I had this fear. I had this incredible dear God, I did not want to turn out like that. Like that was my biggest fear, is that, so you talk about desperation, inspiration. I had both. I had this desperation that, please, dear God, do not let me end up like this situation and this life and the way these people are behaving and how they're choosing to lead their lives. And I just, please no, right? Like just no. So I felt like I was just running from it. So I was going to do the exact opposite. I always say, when you're going through life and you're not happy and you're not fulfilled, whatever you're doing, stop and just go the other way for me, right? Just run. And that's what I felt like I was doing at 13, 14, when I realized that I had to give up on the hope strategy, that they were going to be better people and things were going to get better in my life and how they were going to treat me and their actions and what they were doing and the abuse and all the crazy things that was going on. When I finally realized that hope was no longer a strategy, because the hope of them changing and living a different life, I just literally was like, stop. And now I got to go the absolute opposite direction of everything that they're doing. That's all it was.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And you know, and then you make this decision. And I love the idea that hope, I think one of the greatest lies ever told is that hope is a strategy. And we just hope things get better. We hope that we get this sale. We hope that we get this promotion. We hope that we fall in love. That's never a strategy, right? That's not a strategy. Most people don't understand that. They confuse prayer or praying with hope. And there's two totally different things. You agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I love, people call me a dealer in hope, which I think is kind of funny. I look at it maybe a little bit different in the sense that I look at hope and say, this world is full of so much. So yeah, if you want to call me a dealer of hope, I'm a dealer of, there's so much around us and opportunity and possibility and this life that you have in front of you. And I want you to get it all. That's the hope. It's not my strategy, right? That's very different.
I would say I believe that every human being, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of their upbringing, was created for a life of abundance. And I mean abundance of love, abundance of joy, abundance of faith, abundance of health, abundance of success. Everybody has the same ability to have abundance in their life. Abundance is the overarching belief I have about life. And then I create a strategy underneath it. How do I go get it? How do I get this abundance of life? And I'm not talking about things. I'm not talking about material.
No.
All the good stuff, all the love and joy and hope and all those things. And so then you come up with this you have this shift moment, this pivotal moment, and you're like, there's got to be a better way. I'm not going to turn out like this. And you move and you have 4 jobs, you're going through school, that becomes your strategy becomes your life. Would that be a fair assessment?
It is. And I knew, well, and you got to remember, it was all on me. So nobody was paying for my food, my shelter, my house, my clothes, my life. So you got to remember, I talk about my high school graduation. It was an amazing moment for me, but I just realized that it's all on me. There's no one cheering me on. There's no one, giving me anything or doing anything, that it was all on me. So those 4 jobs was that, okay, I've got to get to work. I've got to provide for myself. I've got to educate myself. I have to create this life that I want, because no one's showing me the way. No one's giving it to me. No one's doing it for me, And so to me, doing all those things meant that I was having the ability to create the life that I dream of.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that the idea that you now say to yourself, I'm gonna do this all on my own. I'm independent. Nobody's gonna make it happen. What I'm curious about is, how did that not make you cynical? How did it not make you put up walls around you? Because you're happily married, you have 2 kids, you have a tribe of people around you, you're the connector of people. I've connected with you, and you're like, oh, I can put you in touch with this person or that person. And how does that not make you cynical?
So again, remember, you either run towards or you run away, in my opinion. And you got to remember, from 3 until I was 18, the negativity and the meanness and just the pure evilness of it all made me realize that I never wanted that in my life. And so I literally, thank the Lord that I had all these bad examples from 3 until I was 18, because it guaranteed that I would never turn out that way. I love them all, by the way. I mean, I tell it's kind of a crazy story, but you know, one of my stepmothers, and it's a great story. It's a hard story, but it is what it is, Chad. You know, I remember, you know, I was 10 or 11 or how old it was, and you know, abusive and mean, and you know, basically told me every day that I'm horrible human. I'd never go anywhere. I'm a, you know, blah blah blah, like just abuse after abuse after abuse, and all I would do is smile. That's all I would do is, and I would smile. And I remember that I was just waiting for this magical moment, and the magical moment happened one day. And she said to me, "I'm sick and tired of you smiling. You have nothing to smile about. Why are you smiling?" And that was the question. That was the question. Why are you smiling? And I said, "Because I'll never turn out like you."
Oh my gosh.
I'll never.
Yeah.
I'll never.
What a powerful story.
Right? But that's what you have to, like, because if could you imagine if that turned me into them? They would have won. If I was negative and hateful and cynical and angry, I would have been like them. They would have won.
Yeah, it's great. Like that. I'm like almost one of those stories that you start to think to yourself, how the intestinal strength, the fortitude, all those things like that you were able to possess at that very moment is, I think, it says so much about why your life is where it is now. Yeah. Right? You have these moments. You have these moments that are either happening to you or for you, and that was happening for you in the moment, but you were able to see it. You were able to see that. Most people act straight out of emotion, and they just come back with vengeance, or they come back with spite or hate or whatever. And you came back and said, "No, not me."
I think, again, I wish people would be more. Is that what you want to be like? You have to be very careful. You have to be very careful. I am very mindful. You know, I talked today about intention. I'm very intentional about how I want to behave, how I want to act, how I want to treat people, right? Like, you have to be very intentional, because if you're not, you can be pushed. You can be pushed. And I could have very well, from 3 to 18, I could have been pushed to be a very different person, but I didn't allow it. And that's what we do, right? As I always say, please be careful with who you listen to, who you hang with. So I love listening to you and listening to your podcast, and right, getting to hang out with you now even more and more, is because you're the type of person I want to be pushed by you, because you have good things. You're going to push me to be better. You're not going to push me to be a piece of shit, right? Like, and that's where I think more people have to be careful. Are you being pushed to be the right kind of person that you want to be? And I was very intentional with that.
So amazing. I think, and two, I think that, you know, if you look at your stepmother or the people around you that are negative or self-deprecating, whatever you want to call it, right? That's coming from their own insecurity. Like that, to me, it's such, I know it goes back to like childhood, when people tell you, you know, it's not about you, it's about them, but it really is true. Like that, her lashing out at you really probably had very little to do with you, but more about how she felt in her own life and the worthlessness that she felt in her own life. And, you know, I talk about all the time, there's 2 types of people in the world. There's people that make themselves look good on their own merits, or there's people that make themselves look good on the lack of others' merits. And, you know, which one are you? Yeah. And to me, she's trying to make herself feel better by making others around you feel worse. And that's you see that a lot. I see that. I watched debates. I watch these debates and I watch the politics, and it's amazing to me how many people don't stand up on their own platform and try to build themselves up. I'm going to become the best by tearing everybody else down. And it's just such a cynical way to live. And it's comes from a place of not enough. You agree with that?
Yeah. And I don't want to go there. That's why I said, like, that my whole mission in life was to be the exact opposite of that. And I wanted to bring light and love, and I do everything in my power to give out as much love and energy that I can every single day. Because again, that is what I'm going towards. And I think that we have to stay in check and be mindful and intentional of where we're going every day. And I think even watching those debates, you could be pushed off the wrong way. You could get angry. You could get upset, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. You would be very careful to what you listen, watch, read, and allow you, because you're always being pushed. Yeah. I'm very mindful of that.
Yeah, you can't see my office here, but I have signs all over my office about my word of the year, the 2019 word of the year, and it's intent. Oh
my gosh!
signs around my office to remind me every day that everything I do has to be with intent. Everything. And what is it?
I love this.
Right? It's amazing.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
Kindred spirits. So everything is about your intent. And what is your intent for me, or is your intent for somebody else? Is it for, you're in the home building sector, that's how we've met. And every time I sold a home, every time I worked with one of my clients, I had this conversation yesterday in Kentucky, and it was the conversation you're having with that customer that's walking in. Is that for you or for them? Are you trying to sell a house because you want a commission, or are you selling a house because you're on a mission? Which one are you, commission focused or mission focused? And if you're mission focused, it's about contributing to the well-being of others. Right?
I love that. That deserves
I'm saying, but you can only think that way if you have great intent in everything you do. If your intent is right, do the right things for the right reasons.
I love it. You get it, brother. You get it. I love it.
So let's fast forward. Let's continue to fast forward. So now you're going to school. You're working 47 jobs. You're crushing life, trying to get to where you want to be in life. How do you end up in Idaho, right? Idaho, with, or not even arguably, with the single best builder in the state, and I'm going to mess this up, but one of the largest builders in the country. I don't know what number you are.
We're 37. We're pretty proud of that.
37.
Not bad. We only build in one state. Not bad.
Which is amazing, because those of you who are listening that are in the home building sector, you can appreciate that. Those of you who aren't in the home building sector, let me give you some stats. There's 2,000 home builders in the United States.
Yeah.
Most of the national home builders, the large Lennars and
big guys.
FBR and DR Horn, they build all over the country.
Yeah.
And here they are literally dominating in one state. How did you get from here all the way to there? I'm sure there's a lot in between, but what was the driving force?
I'll give you some fun cliff notes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So let me think about this. I'm trying to think how. So I end up at Boise State on a tennis scholarship. I'm a tennis player. Meet my husband. That's just a whole nother wacky story. Meet my husband.
Which, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay.
Describe your husband in the book as
hot as
hell, sexy as hell, and you've been married for 25 years.
25 years.
And you still describe your husband hot as hell.
Yeah. He's delicious. I love him. Yeah. On
the podcast, I want to let you know you just called your husband delicious.
I can't lie. I hit the lottery, brother. I can't lie. So.
So playing tennis at Boise State, you meet Mr. Delicious,
and so right off the bat, he is actually a construction management major. We moved to Vegas because he works for Bechtel, one of the large national construction firms. Funny story, I get to Vegas and I'm the type of person, I need a job. I have to have a job like today. Like I'm just that girl. So we get there and I'm like, the fastest way to do that is to go to a temp agency, and so I can have a job today. So I go to a temp agency, they place me in this marketing, selling shares, wireless shares, wacky thing, by the way, but you're in Vegas, so you go with it. So I go there, I start working. I got to tell the story fast because it's so funny. Go there, I start working. I'm a worker. You have to know that. Like when I'm in, I work. So I'm 6 months in, I'm in the office late, and over the last couple months, I noticed this blonde lady in a Jag pull up to the office about once a week. And I'm like just enthralled with her, right? I'm like, who is this woman in this Jag? So don't know who she is, but she's obviously something with the company, yada, yada, yada. I'm 6 months in, I'm working late, and the blonde Jag lady comes up to my desk and says, "You're Rhonda, right?" And I said, "I am." And she said, "So do you want a job?" I said, "Well, I have one, right? That's what I'm doing right now. I currently have one." And she said, no, I'm opening up my own branch. I need someone to run it with me. You appear to be the hardest working person in the building. I've been watching you. Do you want to come with me? And what do you, right?
You don't turn blonde Jag lady down.
Right? I'm like, oh, hell yeah, right? So I go. So we go, set up her branch, hire like 4 or 5 people to help us run it. They're friends of mine, good times. you keep this in mind. We're in Vegas. So, she may or may not have, maybe just paid in envelopes, but not with the, you know where I'm going with this one. And so it was amazing. It was amazing. So we're about almost a year in. Everything's great. Life is amazing. The JAG lady comes and goes maybe once a week, if that. I got it though. We're good. So almost a year in, she swings by the office one day and says, "Hey, I need to talk to you. Come in the office." I said, "Great." She says, "Okay, it's been a good ride. I've really enjoyed working with you. You crushed it. You've nailed it. But we're going to be raided by the FBI within 24 hours. So I need you to shut everything down."
Come on. Come on,
Right?
you can't keep this shit up.
I'm like, "Vegas, baby, Vegas." And so anyways, that goes away. That shuts down. Way too much fun. So then I decide that I'm going to lay by the pool and get ready to marry my husband of 25 years. And my stepmother, one of them that is sent from the absolute heavens to me that I adore and love, she says to me, "Rhonda, you know the rules. We have two of them in life. You're either working or you're going to school, but those are the only two options in your life." So laying by the pool was never on your docket. And I said, "I don't want to go to school. I'm not going to go to school. Like, I got to," and she goes, "Okay, we'll compromise. Go get your real estate license so you can buy your husband a house."
Ooh, nice.
Right?
Nice.
Remember, I'm not going there for a job though. I'm going there to buy my husband a house. Get my real estate license. I go, there's an ex-NFL football player as the instructor because it's Vegas. Right? And he says, we have the best time together, class, blah, blah, blah. And he says, "Hey, I need you to meet a woman in new home construction at CBH Homes. You'll love her. You need to work with her." I said, "I'm not looking for a job." Who was it? Liesl Cooper.
Of course.
Liesl Cooper. So we end up meeting.
NFL player.
What'd you say?
Who was the NFL player? Was he in the home building or he was
No, he was just a retired NFL player who taught real estate school because it's Vegas. I'm assuming he gambled at night. I don't know. Jesus. Right? And so I'm not even kidding you. Liesl and I finally connect. I have this whole other funny story. You and I will do this later. Liesl and I finally connect. I'm like, "I'm supposed to meet with you. This Teddy guy says that you and I are going to hit it off. I don't want a job, but let's just talk." And she's like, we talked for like 3 or 4 hours, by the way. We never shut up. And she says,
for those 3 or 4 hours.
Right? And she goes, "I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. as I'm leaving the door." I go, "What for?" She's like, "Well, there's a sales meeting." I'm like, "Well, I don't work here. I'm not going to that." So, and she's like, No. I'll see you at 9 a.m. tomorrow." So I go home and my husband, AKA fiance at the time, he's like, "So what are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I have to be at this meeting at 9, but I don't work there. Like, do I go? Like, I don't even know." And he's like, "Well, I guess you better go. I mean, is she expecting you?" I'm not kidding you. I showed up at 9 a.m. that morning, and that was approximately 29 years ago. And I've been in home building ever since.
Holy shit. It's that, well, first of all, there's like, I somehow got to get past Mr. Delicious story. Get to the FBI is going to raid us.
Right.
Poolside, because you're in Vegas, of course.
Right. So good.
And then somehow Liesl Cooper, who's a good friend of both of us, swoops in and changes your life.
You know what? It was just so, and I started at the bottom of the barrel. I was a young age. So I started as a hostess there, right? And then within like 3 months, I was a salesperson. 6 months later, remember, I'm a yes person and I love to work. So I just, every time they had a problem, like they had a problem in their design studio. So I went and helped run their design studio and do their appointments for a minute. They had a problem in mortgage. I went and helped mortgage. They had a problem with marketing. I went and did marketing for it. I mean, like, I was just that, their warranty, that issue with warranty, I jumped into. I'm your yes girl. Like, I just love to learn. I read far too many Curious George books as a kid. So I just like, yeah. Why do you do this? How do you do that? Sure, I'll stay till 10. Yeah, I can be here at 6 a.m., right? Like,
right, whatever. And
so what happened through all of that is just my love for home building, right? Like, I learned every part of it and I just fell in love with it.
So let's talk about Liesl. Well, let's not talk about Liesl, but let's talk about that type of person that's in your life. How important is it to surround yourself with those type of people? We talked about it earlier, like, hey, surround yourself with people that pick you up, but knowing Liesl, you know Liesl, she's as delicate as an F5 tornado person. Right?
It's a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, so she's as delicate as, but but she's filled with love. Like,
Yeah.
she has the innate, having people that really push you, give you radical candor, people that really have shown you that they care personally about you, but they're going to challenge you every day to be better. How important is it to surround yourself with people like that, as opposed to solely surrounding yourself with people that are just pure 100% empathizers?
You know, and I think that hopefully you want, again, to be intentional about the people that you surround yourself. I think that's why Lisa and I had an immediate connection, because we're both workers. We're both doers. We both want to go out and get what we want, right? Like, and I think sometimes, you know, this morning I was talking, everyone thinks that there's this lottery thing going on and that you're waiting to get tapped and you're waiting to be chosen. And then all of a sudden this clear path is going to come for you and you're just going to, no. So remember what I said, Lisa opened the door for me and then I went to work. And so I think you're right. Find the right people I always say, find the doors that you want to be around. Like even when we left, I worked for KB for probably 5 years in Vegas. And then we decided we wanted to have children. Vegas children just didn't seem like, you know, the smartest thing. And so we moved back to Boise, or, you know, the area at that time. And there was a company here, and it actually wasn't CBH Homes, believe it or not. It was another land developer / builder that I just adore. So to me, that was the door and the type of people that I was looking for. Be intentional. And when you find the right people, right, go there, go towards it. I mean, like, you know, I'm a huge fangirl for Larry Webb. And so I have been very intentional of trying to build a relationship with him, drive his products, be around him, you know, that type of thing. Is like, you have to be intentional with the types of people that inspire you, that push you, and that you want in your life. So you're absolutely correct.
It's amazing, because I think a lot of it, people think it's networking. This isn't about networking. I'm saying networking is clearly important, but this is about being intentional, to your word, of finding the people that will be, I think I read once that you need to surround yourself with fullbacks. You know, a fullback is a that clears the way for the running back to go. And you need to surround yourself with cheerleaders, people that are going to root you on, and you need to surround yourself with great coaches, right? So, and everyone plays a pivotal role, but everybody you meet has a role in your life, and finding the ways to gravitate towards them, and then not letting them go. Not pushing them away, not allowing them to disappear out of your life.
And keep a connection. And, you know, I think it's so interesting. I would tell you, don't laugh at me, Chad. I would tell you that I'm a horrible networker, because it's not my thing. I'm not, I'm horrible. I would tell you, I love people and I love a connection if it's with the right people. Because if you're not the right people for me, you won't come near me, and you'll know it very clearly, right? Like, I'll be like, no. Like, so I don't just want to meet as many people as I can and network, or I want to connect with the right people who inspire me, push me, right? That's important to me.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. So we talked about in the beginning, you've written 3 books. Amazing. You have a podcast. You write articles for every home building publication and others. You write blogs. You do speaking everywhere, like all over the damn country. You do all these things, and I'm sure I'm forgetting 50 other things. You're a mom to kids. You're a wife to Mr. Delicious. I'm saying, at what point, like, you're a vice president of an actual company.
Yeah, I have a full-time job.
A couple thousand homes a year. It's amazing. Right? We talked about that. At what point? Why didn't you say at some point, good is good enough? Like, I have a great job. I'm assuming make good income. I have impact in my community. I'm a mom to 2. How is it, and why is it that you were never bitten by this tyranny of the or, where you just said, I can have this or that, I can have this or that. I can be a great mother, or I can be a successful businesswoman. I can be a great wife, or I can be an author. Why is it that it seems like you're on this warrior's march to continue to build your own personal brand, all while having a full-time job and being a mother and a wife and all that? Like, what is it that pushes you to do that?
You know, I think that's interesting. I feel like a couple of things. I want a big life. I mean, and maybe if you want to play psychologist on me or throw in some therapy things in here, whatever you're going to do, is that, do you think maybe that my mother dying at 3, that, you know, I feel like I wake up every single morning and I'm just like, yes, I got another shot. Like, yes. Like, I literally say yes. Like, and some people are like, what? Do you really do that? I'm like, so I have this feeling of, I'm incredibly blessed to get every single day. And then I just realized that I didn't ever want to have a small life. I just knew, and I still know today, I have so much to do. You know, I was on a plane on Wednesday to Chicago, and I had this retired, like 75-year-old gentleman, a businessman, but from Australia, and wonderful. And I didn't start talking yet because I had my inbox out, and I'm just like, right, like going crazy. I've got work to do. And he leans over and he goes, I really got to know what you do, because you're just like, you're like just putting it down over here. Like, what's going on? And I was like, well, I'm a home builder. And, you know, yeah. And I was like, well, what do you do? And he goes, well, you know, I'm a retired businessman. And do you know what I said? Why? Why?
Why you retired?
Why?
What?
Why? And I have to tell you, I thought he was going to fall out of his goddamn seat. Like, I don't think anyone's ever asked him why. Right? I was like, why? I go, you seem sharp. Don't you still have a lot to add? What are you doing? And he just looked at me. And I go,
who the hell did I sit next to?
Right? Like, and I was like, why? I have to tell you, I want to keep learning and growing and pushing and challenging myself. And that's where I feel like when people say, where do you get your energy? Where do you get your passion? And it's because I want to learn and grow and to keep going. I think that's where life is to me.
I love that. I often say I want a career and a life that I never need to retire from. Like,
yes.
I really want to do this until the day I die.
I think that's an old mindset, that you hated your job, you hated your life, so all you looked forward to is retiring. And I disagree. I love my life, right? I don't want to retire from anything.
We share a love for Gary Vaynerchuk, who I've gotten to spend a lot of time with, and he will tell you, like, this, like, people that dread Mondays, like, they're broken, and what I mean by they're broken is they just don't feel the passion to move forward, and you got to find something that drives you to wake up on Monday mornings. Like, yes, it's Monday morning. I get
wait.
The same mindset you have. And I think the challenge is that some people find that phony or off-putting or cheesy, but the best things in life are cheesy because it's true, right? I'm saying, like, when you live with that kind of zest.
Yeah, I call it whatever you like. I can't imagine living any other way. And I feel like I have a very big life. I mean, and I'm very purposeful, intentional, however we say this. I have created the life that I dream about. And I will literally, the marriage that I have, it's what I dreamed about. It's what I wanted. I was very intentional with that. My children, my boys, the relationship, the love, the amazing human beings they are, this company, my team. I've been very, 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 I always say there's not very many surprises because I have planned, set, worked on, and created this life. So if I'm disappointed, I should be disappointed in myself. Right? Because then I didn't create the life that I dream about. And this is the life that I dream about.
I love that. So if you were to create, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, right?
Okay.
The 3 steps, the Ronda Conger 3 steps, the 3 most pivotal steps to creating and scripting and strategizing the life you want.
Mm-hmm.
What are the 3 biggest steps in order to create and script that life that you want? Putting you on the spot here.
Here you are. I'm like, one thing that I think, let's just say the first thing, you have to know what you're going for, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like. So my husband, I always laugh, my boys, when we were growing up, they'd be like, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. And he'd be like, well, let's go follow that person home. Let's look at where they live, how they act, what their hours are, the people they're around, and let's make sure that that's the look you're going for. There's truth to that, right? And so first of all, you have to first define, what is success? What does that mean to you? I knew what success looked like to me. I knew the career I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do, everything along the way. Don't get me wrong. I've altered and changed, and I've tried things, and I've moved things based on that, and I do that all the time. But first define what you want. Some people are just aimlessly waiting for someone to tell them. I'm like, no one's going to tell you, right? Like, yeah, try things, go out there, do things. So for one, define. So, you know, right. What does Stephen Covey say? Begin with the end in mind. Okay. Right? Like, here's where I'm ending. And then, as I just said, I'm a doer. I'm a worker. So I am going to work on that every single day until it happens. Right? Check yourself every night. What do I have to do tomorrow to push me one step closer? In the morning this morning, I look at my day and I say, what do I have to do to push myself one step closer? Right? And it's every day, which ends into a week that ends up to a month. And then the third thing I would say, and then I get to work learning. I read, I Google, I conference, everything and anything I need to do to make that thing happen. You know the rules. This is not new to you, but everyone seems like it's going to be like someone thinks, well, you just must be lucky. Lucky? Okay, sweetie, if that was luck, we don't want that kind of luck, right? I mean,
but people do subscribe to that. We think, because I think that people think that it's some secret formula, and this is where I get jaded sometimes. And obviously I do coaching, sales coaching, and leadership coaching, and everybody has their golden secrets for success, right? Yeah. Because it sells, because it seems like it sells. It really is not that difficult. There is no one way, one path.
No.
Let's start with knowing what you want in life,
knowing
what you're worthy of in life, believing what you're worthy of in life, and then working to go get it, right? I'm saying it really is that simple. I'm saying the task of doing it is hard because you have to overcome obstacles and self-doubt and resistance.
Right. Yeah. Failures.
But that's just the test.
Yeah.
Which to me is the test of how bad do you want it. If there was no resistance, you wouldn't want it, because everybody would have it. It'd be, you know what I'm saying? Everybody would be lining up to get it. So all right, a couple more questions. I know your time is valuable. We're probably getting ready to get on a jet to go meet with the Pope. So I want to make this really, really quick. But you talked about reading, and you're a voracious reader. I am a huge, huge reader. There's always, I got this week. I just finished this Mandela's Way, but this week I'm reading the 5 a.m. Club, Range, Russell Branson's recovery books. I'm really inspired to read. So this is this week or this month's reading. So I know you're a voracious reader, and we share in common our favorite book of all time, which is Man's Search for Meaning.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say that. You know that. I was like, please say Man's Search for Meaning.
Yeah,
please.
The number one book I've gifted more than any book there is. Is my compass. Why is it that, at what point did you realize that reading really is the gateway? I didn't finish my first book until I was 25 years old, cover to cover. And because I just didn't believe I was smart enough or worthy enough to have that type of life or that education. Why is it that reading for you is such a gateway to success?
I would tell you, reading is why I'm standing here. Reading is why I'm not in a ditch. Reading is why I'm not a drug addict, why I'm not all these other things that, that people in my life are trying to put me on. Is when I was a little girl, through all the craziness of my life and all the bad things that were happening, you would find me, I'm not even kidding you, under my bed or under my covers with a flashlight and a book. And it was my escape from the life that was around me. And then it was also, it gave me hope and faith that people were living different lives, and there was other things out there, and that I could go get those, I could have those, and that this life that was around me that was so horrible, that this wasn't the only type of life. And when you're a little girl, or when you need to see other things to kind of push you. And I firmly believe that the reason I have the life that I have, and the reason that I'm standing here and have such this big, incredible life, is because of books. Because I could look there and go, okay, there's a different way. There's a better way. There's something else. And then I just continue that. And that's what I've done ever since. I just keep reading and seeing and watching. My favorite quote, if you knew better, you would do better. But the only way you're going to know better is if you read.
I love that. It makes you consciously aware. If I'm unconsciously incompetent to the world around me, then I can't do anything. But once I'm consciously aware that there's better, now it's choice. Now I get to choose the life. right? Now my life becomes nothing but a set of choices to become the person I always knew I could be. But you only know that if you crack the book and start to see what else is out there.
And I say every time you read a book, you're never the same. It has shown you a different way, a different opinion, a different view, something else to dream about, something else to go towards, something else to look at. You'll never be the same. Hands down, the reason I'm standing here today, the reason I've led the life is those books under my bed, under the cover with a flashlight.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So a couple things we didn't get into, which I did this somewhat on purpose, and that's because you ever do the leave behind? Like when I was dating and I really liked a girl, I would leave something behind that would force me to go back and get it. And I'm like, oh, she can't kick me out and never talk to me again because I left my wallet at the, with her or in her car.
Well played, brother. Well played.
Yeah. So I've done that on purpose here. And you wrote a book about leadership, right? Mm-hmm. You go first. And we talked about all the things that you are, the mom, the home builder, the vice president, the author, all these things. What we didn't talk about was that you also lead a huge team of people that are changing the lives of hundreds of thousands of people through, the customers that buy your homes and the vendors that get to work because they sell the homes, and you could just go on and on. And you lead them. So we didn't talk about any leadership today. We talked about how do you get to the point where you have the success and the abundance that you have. But I know that's interesting. So I definitely want to talk about that on another episode. That's my lead behind it, to force you to do another episode with me at some point. So we will definitely get into your you go first leadership style in your book and how you contribute to the people around you. So I don't want you to think that's downplayed. If you listen to this, make sure you buy the book. Read it, so when she comes on, it's a home run. But all right, so last two questions. First, where do people find you? And I already know the answer to this. Like, just open any newspaper, go on TV site, Ronda Conger. Where do people find you? So
you can either find me at rondaconger.com. So don't you dare put an H in there. So RONDACONGER.com. You can find all my books on Amazon. So go there. You could also do betterhuman.today. That's another, one of my, it all leads to the same place, or CBHhomes.com. If you want to find me, I love helping other people. I do. I'm very curious. I love to learn from other people. So, head on over to CBH Homes. They have my email address there, ready. Reach out to me if I can help in any way, fashion, or form. I would love to. Yeah. And you can absolutely, as you probably said this, but you can absolutely sign up for your daily, which are done by you. So everybody has some sort of send out in the morning, or MailChimps or this or that. But every morning you send out just a quick little quote or a thought of the day. This morning's was leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. And that's a great way to start your morning at 7:00 in the morning, seeing Ronda Conger's name pop up with this amazing quote. So people can subscribe to that as well, correct? Yes, I love that. And it's just to set the tone. It started out just being for my team. And then all of a sudden my team was like, will you add my mom, my sister, my brother, my uncle? And then my list just kept growing and growing. So I just love that it goes out to so many people and that we're all kind of on this hunt together to think better, be better. I just love it. Yeah, I start my day with it every morning. Every morning, I'm like, oh, what does Ronda Conger got to say today? Right? and what's awesome is sometimes it's a one-liner that for 2 minutes makes me think and makes me intentional about the day I'm going to have. It programs me to see things in the correct light first thing in the morning. Because most times people wake up in the morning and they reach for the phone, or they're frustrated because of the emails, and they're trying to get the kids to school, or whatever's happening. There's chaos. Just for a brief moment every morning, I get to start with at 7:14. I think it comes in 7:15 every morning. And they get this email, which is amazing. So thank you for contributing that every day. So if you're not following Ronda Conger, you got to Google her right now and see what she does. She's everywhere. And so thank you for being on. Last question, and it is, when you leave this earth 50 years from now, 60 years from now, what do you want your contribution in this world to have been? I would say that you are just on fire today with your questions, brother. I was like, I love this. I I want people to realize that I gave out as much love as humanly possible, and I inspired others to do the same. I inspired people, on my hunt to be a better human. I hope that I brought as many people as humanly possible with me during this time, and that their lives are better because of it. And so is their children's and their family and their community and their brothers and everybody. So that would be my goal.
Boom. Drop the mic on that shit. Mr. Delicious, man, he struck lottery when he got Ronda Conger. So I got to Google Mr. Delicious, but actually, we're not going to put Mr. Delicious into the Google because I don't know what kind of photos I'll get back.
Right?
Google a photo of Mr. Delicious. So, hey, thanks for being on. We're going to be, obviously, you're one of those people that I'm going to be connecting with for the rest of my life. So I appreciate you being in my life, and giving me your time today was awesome. So
well, hey, right back at you. Like I said, I don't network, and I only connect with people who inspire me and push me. And I have to tell you, are a gift and a blessing. So thank you.
I'm gonna cut that piece right there and send it to my wife every morning.
Yes, do it.
So she hears that shit. All right, listen, thanks. Have a great day. Thanks for coming on.